is such a fun show today. I can't freaking wait. Giants, you need something going on. Hamilton will fill you in the breaks on that on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We have, someday he'll be in the Hall of Fame, Bobby Wagner, but not yet. He is still doing his thing at the highest level. How? I don't know. We're going to talk to Bobby Wagner on the program. Cannot wait. We have Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. Kirk Cousins coming back to town. Justin Jefferson, are you ever going to sign your extension paperwork? Because it's going to happen before training camp. I get some answers. And from the NFL, she's got her paws all over this beautiful masterpiece / impossible task that is the NFL schedule. And it's out. You have questions. Charlotte Carey from the NFL has answers. Was a massive success. Shout out to all the social media teams. Get that, New Orleans? Teams, not just one person or intern that just covers social media. It takes huge teams and moments and creativity and then execution and organization, and they absolutely crushed it. It's super, super fun. And it's hard to sort of watch all 32 because some of these were like motion pictures. It was they're winning short films and getting nominations at the Webbies and the Oscars coming up. Some of these incredibly done. But we start, as we should, with the primetime games. That's where these eyes go. Who's getting primetime love? Jets, Niners, Cowboys tied for the most with 6 apiece. Jets are just 1-5 in primetime over the last 2 years. By the way, we'll see if Aaron Rodgers can help change that. I don't know how much there is in the world to turn this team's primetime stats around, but if one guy can do it, it's him. 8 teams, including the Bills, Chiefs, Packers, and Bengals, get 5. A little surprised we don't see Houston get more, if I'm going to be being honest here. What up, Casario down there? What up, CJ Stroud? Thought they might get a little bit more love. Bears, they only get 3 with Caleb. Some people saying only. I don't know. I think they should get more. Biggest rivalry, them and the Packers, right? Oldest, most tenured. They did get 2 other standalone games, though, as well. And the Panthers get shut out, which you gotta know. David Tepper, he's not going to like that. He's not going to like that, and neither is Canales after meeting him. And probably neither is their quarterback. They're going to have to prove something, and I kind of like that. But that can't be sitting well. He's the last owner to maybe not do that to, but to have that in his lap and not take that as some radical candor in the state of where things are, and then where they can be and change and look up to dig out of that hole. Speaking of digging, let's dig into some of the other games that I'm most excited about. These are just, I would call them my faves. Not necessarily the biggest matchups, ones that are going to be blogged about or talked about most or TikToked about the most, but these are kind of my faves. Texans, Cowboys, I'm in. It's Monday night. It's week 11. Things get interesting by then. There's a couple of reasons I'm excited. For starters, we get to see Stephon and Trayvon. I love a Diggs brother situation. Like any brother game facing each other, I love. But then you get the actual defense versus offense of it. It's kind of nice. And it'll be electric. And I think those two in particular have been waiting for this for a long time. Beyond that, this is an insane. I said the Texans should have gotten more love. This is a great opportunity for said Houston Texans. They've gained a lot over the past year. They've got momentum. They've got talent. They got wins. They got trophies. With Stroud, the defense, and now the Diggs trade, they are and they should be looked at as a Super Bowl contender, okay? The Cowboys, on the other hand, they are already having their title as America's team come into question before anything even happens. And if Houston goes into Jerry World and wins this, they might not be the best team in their state anymore. So it gets a little spicy. It'll be one of those meaningful, the way we look at both teams changes opportunity games. Bigger for the Texans, and oh my gosh, you better not lose this for the Cowboys. Okay, next up, I'm going to keep the brotherly love going. I don't know why I like the humanity of things, but I do. And there's a lot of for grabs here with the Harbaugh Bowl. Harbaugh brothers squaring off Week 12 on Monday. Ravens go to LA to take on the Chargers. First time these two squads meet since Super Bowl 47. That's 13 long seasons ago when, of course, John and the Ravens took it to Harbaugh and the Niners in New Orleans, where the Super Bowl is once more this year. I had Chargers brand new, first time ever, GM Joe Ortiz, who spent 26 years in Baltimore hanging out with John, what it's going to mean now working with Jim, and you know, how competitive are the juices actually between these two khaki-wearing dudes? How often do you think Jim's thought about that Super Bowl loss to John?
I think Listen. I think he's proud. We've talked about it. It was an unbelievable, unique moment. Two brothers going against each other.
Crazy.
And just I think he's proud to have been in it, and certainly I know he wanted to win that game, and I'm going to do everything I can on my side to help him win those games, So, but it was awesome. It was a neat experience. We played him on Thanksgiving, I think the first time we played him, and then to play him in Super Bowl, both big, unique games, and we'll do it again. Who knows when it'll be.
Okay, this one's gonna have all the things you want, all the feels. Pop the popcorn, do your thing, get some, I don't even know, get some snacks, get your nachos, get on the couch and enjoy. Speaking of feels, the other game that I'm really looking forward to is Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. I really like this. Week 7, it's Thursday Night Football. Coach Payton, of course, spent, when you look at him, do you see a Broncos visor when you conjure up a picture of Sean Payton in your head, or do you see this one? You see this one. This is who he is. He's iconic. And bringing the Saints their lone Lombardi is iconic, and in iconic fashion in Super Bowl 44. Knowing the Saints organization the way that I do, they're going to make this special. It'll be a special night for him. The energy in that place, I can't imagine what it's going to be like. He's going to be at an 11 out of 10, losing his actual mind during that game, wanting to put it to the Saints, respectfully, of course. And finally, we're talking faves here. We're getting a meeting of the 2 top rookie quarterbacks in Week 8. Caleb Williams going to Washington to take on Jaden Daniels, the Commanders, and Bobby Wagner. There's a lot of layers to this. Beyond them being 2 top picks in this year's draft, Caleb's DC homecoming. A lot of talk about him not wanting to play in Chicago, let him go play in DC. Also, we don't get to see Heisman winners often. This is the first meeting between 2 rookie Heisman guys in a decade. So it's rare, it's special, and Caleb's gonna have to deal with Bobby Wagner now. That's kind of it. We have him on the show in just a second. This is one of those games that's sneaky. That's what I look for. I think the sneaky playoff implications of these games. 2 NFC teams, they improved a lot this offseason. I genuinely think both are in the mix for a playoff spot down the stretch right around this time. These are the games that are super meaningful, and a game like this could end up being the deciding factor as to which one of them actually gets in. Now, another thing I like is we have a huge loaded show. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Vikings, joining us. Bobby Wagner, now a Commander, longtime Seahawk, hater of mayonnaise, apparently, I just learned. He will be hanging out with us as well, future Hall of Famer. We also have Charlotte Carey, who basically makes the schedule. They figure it out. They all sit at a table. She's been there. She's been doing it year in, year out, so she's going to take some of our questions as well. But what else did I want to get into here? I wanted to get into the other thing that I kind of always look at, and it's sort of strength of schedule. And, Hamilton's obsessed with little quirks, so I put it on him. Find me the quirk that you really like in this one. And I like to look at things that tend to be a big factor in how things turn out. And it is strength of schedule. We can't take it as 100% gospel because teams change so much from season to season, and it's based off last year's record, but it does give us a guide, right? It's give us some semblance of something. So the schedule balancing format is a big part of why we've seen at least one team go from worst to first in their division in the 19 of the last 21 seasons. 19 of the last 21 seasons it happens. Who's the person this year? You guys can tell me, but for me, take a look at this. There's an interesting quirk here in the AFC North. The Browns, Ravens, and Steelers have the 3 toughest schedules in the entire NFL this season, while the Bengals' strength of schedule ranks as just the 16th toughest. Let that sink in. It's rare. Look at that jazzy music for Bengals fans. It's rare to see something this lopsided. This is the godsend lopsided edge for Cincy that I've been waiting for, right? This is, especially in a tight division race, as you know it's going to be, this is tough, and it's a tough break for Browns fans, too. In the last 10 years, no team with the NFL's toughest schedule has won their division. No team. And 3 have made the playoffs. So Bengals fans, remember when we wrapped the season, we talked about what is the silver lining of finishing last in the North. Well, here it is. It's playing out before our eyes, and Joey B and hopefully his healthy wrist going into this critical window is windowing 2024. Very nice for the Bengals. Very nice. Wasn't in their schedule release video, noted up here, but very nice for those Bengals as it is. Up next, Charlotte Carey with the NFL, Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Vikings, and future Hall of Famer, not so fast, he's still got things to take care of, B-Wags on the show. Hamilton. Hannah Lou just texted me. She goes, finally, Bobby Wagner's on the show. We've been trying to get Bobby on forever. Well, Bobby prompted a debate in 2021 during a press conference himself saying, I never put mayo on anything. Mayo is disgusting. A mayo company heard this and tweeted an image of the Seahawks record at the time, showing that the Seahawks were in last place. Bobby did not start playing football until his junior year of high school. His coach promised his mom that he would get Bobby a scholarship if Bobby quit basketball. When he was a senior, Jim Harbaugh. Did you know this? I don't know this.
No.
When Bobby was a senior, Jim Harbaugh came to Ontario, California on a recruiting trip, as well as a member of the Utah State coaching staff. It just so happened that Harbaugh and the Utah State coach were in the same bar/restaurant at the time. Bobby's high school coach, Anthony Rick, saw them and walked over to Jim Harbaugh and said, we've got this linebacker, you should look at him. Jim said no. Then he went from Harbaugh to the Utah State staffer and said, hey, that guy over there is going to offer him if you don't. Bobby got his only offer from Utah off that.
That's unbelievable.
Wait, what? I didn't even understand. What happened? Jim Harbaugh.
That's unbelievable.
So Jim Harbaugh got used.
Basically. And it goes to show, it doesn't matter, you know.
Can you Google this? Can you Google this? Do I have good intel here? I know, I'm pretty sure I do.
I know Pete Carroll overlooks him. I saw that article.
Yes, that he said, not so small now.
Yeah.
Take that, Shredder. Favorite memory from his fans are crazy.
Yeah.
Deep dive on Bobby. Favorite memory from Utah State. A memorable game was when Utah beat BYU and the Utah fans rushed the field. It was the first time he experienced something like that.
I think we got to ask him about the Ninja Turtles movie, right?
I mean, he was the man who thought a giant rat was a big cat, but it was actually a rat. What is that? Which Ninja Turtles movie? Well, can you look it up on IMDb?
Yeah.
Why doesn't he tell everyone everything? This is the problem. Why don't we know this? Like, I knew his favorite Ninja Turtle was Raphael. I know that he's like worn the backpack sometimes. I know that. And that's like a creepy deep dive. Why do I know that even, right?
Yeah.
Don't answer that.
True.
Let's do it. I love Bobby Wagner.
I'm Terry McLaurin, and this is our 2024 schedule release.
Cake or no cake, I guess. Our first guest today, one of my absolute favorites, and he knows it, 9-time Pro Bowler. I mean, 10-time All-Pro. I think 10 All-Pros is crazy. 1,706 career combined tackles is good for 7th in NFL history and climbing. More importantly, Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. Got to win that bad boy before you hang it up. Super Bowl champion, future Hall of Famer, Bobby Wagner. Good to see you.
What's up? What's up? I'm glad we finally can make this work.
You've been curving me for like a year.
That's not true. It's the East Coast West Coast thing,
Yeah.
but I'm on the East Coast now.
You've been busy. Tell me about it's weird to look at this and see this, Bobby. How are you feeling?
I know. I mean, it's nice because my last name's Wagner, so it kind of just flow with it.
It works. We need to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before we go any further. Are you in a new Ninja Turtles movie?
I was a voiceover. It's like one of the cartoons, and there's a scene where Splinter's like running into like a bunch of traffic, and everybody's like seeing him for the first time, and I'm one of the guys that yells like, "Is that a cat or a rat?" or something like that.
Your line was, it was regarding Splinter, and the line was, "He doesn't look like a rat, he's a cat."
Yeah, it was funny because I just was like, they just showed me the scene and I just ad-lib. I had just went to New York and I think I was walking around and like me and my boys saw what I thought was a cat and it was not a cat. It was a big rat. So it just took me back to flashbacks.
I love, I heard you liked my producer Hamilton, who is your biggest fan. Hamilton, do you have a jersey behind you? I didn't even notice. Do we have Hammy?
I think I saw it. Ah, nice. Right, we gotta take care of you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we got to get you that new the Wagner Commanders. We need to get you that.
It's really fine. Was it fine print right here?
Yeah, it looks good. I have a lot of questions for you because you are a Seahawks legend. You spent 11 seasons there. You are now a Wagner Commander after signing with them this offseason. Schedule release was last night. We're celebrating that, of course. When you saw that bad boy, what's the first thing you looked for? Where do Wagner's eyes go? Grudge matches, revenge games, bye weeks, prime time?
It's always home. You know, like when I was with Seattle, I'll always see like when do we play in LA. And so now it's like, when do we play on the West Coast? So I know we got Arizona, maybe, I think week 4 or something like that. So it's like, you know, where do you play? And then what are some of the big games? You know, I know there's history here with the Cowboys and things of that nature. So you start to look at those games too and just kind of get a feel of what the schedule looks like.
You get Commanders at Bucks to open it, so you get to stay on the East Coast for that one. You got some primetime action early, big one against the Bengals, Monday Night Football. Then you got Week 11 at Eagles. That's Thursday Night Football. That's a beautiful rivalry, I'm sure. The one that jumped out to me, though, Bobby, is that you face the Steelers Week 10, and that might be Russell Wilson. You know, you were in the same draft class. You played together for 12 seasons. You've only played against Russ when you were with the Rams. And you got a nice pick off him in that game, I do believe. Are we getting an encore performance?
I mean, hopefully. I mean, Russ and I, you know, our battles go, you know, way back at practice. And so I think, you know, when we were with Seattle, I think both of us thought we would never really have the opportunity to go against one another. It would always be just practice. So it was a lot of like what ifs. And so, you know, the Rams was the first time for us to get to go against each other. And then, you know, hopefully, you know, I win again when we see him as a Steeler.
I think you will. I think you might have a good chance to pick him off. I don't know if he'll be the quarterback. Do you think he's going to be the quarterback in Week 11?
I believe so.
Why?
He's Russ, man. I think there's been a lot of people that count him out, but all this guy has done is prove people wrong his whole career. He works really, really hard. And, you know, he's a veteran, and he's somebody that people look up to. You got a guy that is experienced, winning Super Bowls, big-time games. I just think this is a better situation for him, and I think he'll shine.
You're in Washington. You're back with Dan Quinn. He's your DC in Seattle. 2013, y'all won a Super Bowl together. Why the Commanders? How big of going there was him? And what is it about his coaching, his leadership, that makes you want to play with him again?
You know, I think the biggest thing for me is, like, I've always been on the West Coast. So coming to the East Coast, you want to come and kind of have and be around, you know, some familiar faces. And so, you know, obviously I had a ton of respect from him from afar. We actually tried to make it happen a couple times. It just didn't work out structurally from a contract perspective, but we finally got it right. You know, I think, you know, him as a person, him as a leader has always been amazing. I think a big thing too was being able to be coached by Coach Norton again. He's like my favorite coach of all time, and so being able to be back in the room with him again is great too. So
DQ did try to get you to go to the Cowboys.
This is correct.
Why? And it didn't work out. Why?
It didn't work out. You got to ask the Cowboys there.
And now you get to face the Cowboys twice a year. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but I have no feelings there. It's definitely not on the same level of Seattle, for sure.
Oof. I know. I need you to play Seattle. I need you to go play against Seattle in some situation. You're also reuniting with Ken Norton. I love that, right? Linebackers coach. Mm-hmm. He was your linebacking coach for what? Over 5 years. That's exciting.
Man, he was my linebacking coach for a really long time, and then he was my DC for a really long time. So pretty much over half of my career, I've been coached by him at some capacity. So the guy that I'm really familiar with, I know, and again, I'm excited to be around him.
I'm liking what I'm hearing, but if you're putting a real big challenge on your plate at this point in your career, right? The defense, it's got talent, but dead last ranking across the board last year. I know that's not happening again because you and DQ and Ken will be there. What, in your opinion, is the ceiling for the defense? And I would love to know, like, does your role change now? Like, I always talk to veteran players, and like, at some point they're more like the locker room guy, the coach on the field. You've always been that. You were that as a young player, so that's not changing. Yeah. Like, what does your role change now with this Washington team as it is?
I don't think so. I think it's the kind of the same thing. I think, at the end of the day, the older you get, the more experience you have, the more people want to, hear from you and want to hear your scars. And I think that's, as a player that's been around for a long time, that's your job, is to share those scars. And so you've been around the game for a long time, so you can understand and kind of be that bridge between the player and coach. There's a lot of great coaches on the staff, but being able to have a guy that can relate the message to the players as well is great. But I think we have a lot of talent and we have a great scheme. And it's really about us being on the same page and bringing that scheme to life. They did a lot of amazing things in Dallas. And, we hope to bring some of that, if not better, here.
Who's a player on that defense that you cannot wait to work with?
Really, honestly, I'm always linebacker. So Luvu is somebody that I worked out with, back when we were in Seattle. We worked out in the offseason. Then he went and played for the Panthers for a long time. And then, we got an opportunity to finally play together. So that's the first person that come to mind, being able to play with him. I've watched him from afar, watched his growth. He's been an amazing player in this league. So I would have to say him.
They're going to learn from you. Jaden Daniels is going to learn from you too, probably the hard way.
He though. You know what I mean? I always like to see people from, where I'm from, make it to the league. So I was excited to see his success from afar and then be able to play with him. When we exchanged numbers, we still had the same area code. So I was definitely proud of that.
And what does that mean to you?
It means a lot because when I was coming out of college, the scouts didn't even go in that area. We were a area that nobody even thought about, bringing. So I think it's cool to see how far it's came and, where it's at in development. There's a lot more guys in that area getting looks and a lot more guys in that area getting opportunities to go play in big division, big conferences. And so I think it's still going up.
Bobby, what are the characteristics of an Inland Empire guy?
Man, that's a great question. Most of them are chill. It's a combination, you either chill or you over the top. I think I'm more on the chill side. And then we just good people. Good people have fun. We adapt to any type of environment. And we make whatever place we go better.
Love this. Love this. I didn't even see. That's why I have you on the show, because I didn't even put together the San Bernardino, Ontario, California connection. What that means, that's going to play huge in this locker room and on this team. And I think you're the best person to have in a locker room, even on the other side of the ball, to sort of get the best out of Jaden. They're so lucky to have you. But I want to talk about you as a player, because I've hated this, it happens to everybody, but this idea, people think that you weren't going to have it anymore when you went to LA. You left Seattle, went to LA, and it's oh, it's fine. Bob, he's older, he's whatever. Then you go back to Seattle last year, your 12th NFL season, and you lead the damn NFL in tackles again. You do it again. And there's still this narrative that you're getting brought into Washington as a culture guy, I can't imagine that's true, right?
No, I mean, I think what people oftentimes, I think they want to, I think maybe Denzel said it, they want to be the first people to call out your rise, and they want to be the first to call out your fall. So I feel like that's what it is. But I think as a player, you get older, you understand it's just noise, and so you don't listen to it. I know what I bring to a team from a leadership perspective, but I also know what I bring to the table on the field. And we have a lot of guys playing in our league that are in my same class that doing amazing things, like Levante and Demario Davis, and to name a few. And so we just go out there and we show, every year they say, I'm this and say I'm that, but then somehow there's a Pro Bowl or All Pro at the end of the season. So you don't really focus on that. You just figure out how you can get better. You always know there's areas in your game for you to improve, and that's the thing. You just got to constantly improve. The moment you stop learning, stop trying to improve, that's when those opinions become right.
But you do have like guys to point to, like Patrick Willis. He left the game at 29. Luke Kuechly comes on my show a lot. He was in your draft class. You know, you have a ring. You have the accolades, one of the best players to ever do it. You know you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, you could have retired 4 years ago and you're still in the Hall of Fame. So what are you chasing?
I think you chase greatness, to be honest. Like, you watch guys, like even where I'm at, you know, London Fletcher, you got Ray Lewis, you got all these different guys that, you know, did it at a high level for a really long time. And then, too, it's like when I came into the league, you know, everybody talked about how hard it was to get to the Super Bowl. And I was lucky enough to get there my second year. And then they said, it'll never happen again. And you get there the third year and you sit here and you think like, okay, this is what it's going to be like forever. And then, you know, we haven't been back since. And so a lot of it, too, is wanting to experience that again, wanting to get back to that big game. And then also be a part of something. When I was in Seattle, you know, we were still building something. And so it's special when you build something and you see the work and you see everything come to fruition. So it's kind of the same feel with the Commanders. You're trying to build something. You're trying to, you know, turn this program into a great one, and we have the pieces.
How do you look at Seattle? You brought up Seattle and sort of like not like you want to play Seattle. You want, you know, you the way they handled you, Pete Carroll. I can't imagine, even though Pete Carroll said you were too small, he didn't want to recruit you back in the day. But then I'm sure you love him. I'm sure you don't like how do you feel about how they handled all of that? Like, what is your relationship after so much greatness and joy and reaching that highest place with them, but then how it ended? Like, what's your relationship with Seattle?
My relationship with the city is always amazing, like always great. My relationship with the players and the staff and the people that work there is always great. I just think that some of the upper management didn't handle things the right way, and it is what it is. It's part of the business. You know, you always have those things, and I'm sure they'll get worked out over time. I'm not somebody who holds grudges. Or anything like that. So I think that's kind of where it stands.
Before we let you go, got to talk about the fact that you're a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. I'm sure you'll be the nominee for the Commanders this year in your first year there. You do so much. You have obviously like a fund that is near and dear to your heart that I'd love for you to tell everybody about and how we can support it.
Yes, it's called the Feeding May Fund. It's named after my mom. And last year we did a comic book, and the comic book was centered around basically how to recognize the signs of stroke. And I think that was special to me because, one, is a comic book. I'm a super big comic fan, obviously, Ninja Turtles. But I think the inspiration from this came from the Spider-Man movie. And so being able to put something like this together for my mom to help people it was really great. We've raised a lot of money so far, and all the money goes to helping stroke patients, you know, recover after their stroke.
And you can go to the website. We have it down there. We'll, of course, tweet it out to help with that fund.
Yes, please.
Supporting stroke awareness and education. And if you're ever doing, like, a charity thing, or if I can help, if our show can help, like, we donate to stuff all the time. So, like, I would love to do that. It's really beautiful.
Okay, that would be great.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you hang it up?
When I hang it up, everything. It's ironic that Magic is a part of the team now, because that's somebody that I looked up to a lot, and I liked the way he transitioned from, you know, playing basketball to playing to owning multiple things, investing, all these different things, and so that's kind of what I envision my space will look like after this, but we'll see.
Are you like friends with Magic Johnson now?
I hope so. He called me right after I signed, and so that was one of the coolest moments. just to have somebody that you looked up to for a long time give you a call and, want to sit down and talk with you and all these different things and share. You could pick his brain about certain things. I think that was a cool moment too.
I'd say so. So you're going to just take over the world. NFL ownership, who knows? And maybe an actor, clearly a voiceover actor, Bobby, or
That's
a model.
the plan.
Whatever.
I would really like to do more voiceover stuff. So hopefully.
I think you have a face for camera. I think you don't have to hide behind a voiceover if you'd like to, Bobby.
We can also make a comic book, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's cool.
I love that. Okay, B-Wags, enjoy. I will be out at a Commanders game. Take it easy on Caleb Williams. You're facing a rookie there this year. I'm a Chicago girl. Just take it easy on the rookie out there, okay?
No rookie level, man.
All right. Bobby Wagner, future Hall of Famer, still got a lot going on the field before he decides to be Magic Johnson 2.0. It'll be amazing. Love having him. Charlotte Carey is on the show, coming to us from the Shield. We're going to talk all things schedule, release. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are my favorite games on the docket. Hamilton. I couldn't leave it not awkward at the end. I don't know how to say bye.
Of course.
I can't.
Yep. Had to make it awkward.
I love Bobby Wagner.
He's the best. I just remember,
I wanted you to get a little
first
comment with him because I wanted you to have a little. You should have gone for it. You should have asked him something. You should have said something.
I appreciate it. It's a special player to me. I remember just for his first preseason game, he was just different against the Titans. I remember him shooting into the backfield, dropping Chris Johnson, and it was like, this guy's just built differently. The instincts, the speed, everything. Like, he just had it. It was one of those guys you could just tell right away he was going to be a special player.
I don't know what gets him going. Kuechly's kind of the same in that temperament way. I don't know what is the, but it sounds like not handling things well gets him going. Meaning like Seattle. He's mad.
It seems like he's
big mad at Seattle.
Yeah. And he's going to have a chance to go down as the greatest linebacker that the game's ever seen. And I think it does sound like that's something that he does think about, Ray Lewis and Singletary and those guys.
He's got 7th most tackles.
Yeah.
All time.
And the All-Pros are up there
10.
as far as linebackers all time too. Yeah. So it's pretty special.
But he said he wants that feeling, the ring. And I'm like, Washington? What are you saying about Washington? That you know, like it's very interesting. Or does he have another stop on his, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, he doesn't look anywhere close to being done with how he's been playing, so.
No, he doesn't. Okay. Great, Hammy. If you want to edit anything, let me know. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll do that stuff in the next break, Richard.
And if you want to edit any of those first couple, should we start with primetime?
Yeah, we can do that.
What do you think? For time's sake.
Yeah, we can do that, and then maybe circle back to a few of those bullets that are in the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still got to get to you at some point here. I got something up my sleeve.
No, I don't need anything. I've had enough.
It's happening.
Let's do this. All right, there it is. Feast your eyes. 278 games played by 32 teams. Now I'm joined by one of the brilliant minds behind the 2024 NFL schedule, an odyssey, an impossible, intricate puzzle solved by the NFL's director of broadcasting, Charlotte Carey. Charlotte, thank you for taking the time this morning. Congratulations. Y'all are geniuses. You figured it out. It was delayed, though. How different did it look yesterday with the release than it did 10 days ago?
It's a good question. First of all, thank you for having me, Kay. Excited to be back this year. It looked fairly different. The overall structure towards the end, I would say, is pretty much the same. We really lock in on things that we like to see and then just shake it up a little bit every night and try to work out some of the kinks and things that we may want to take a little extra time for and see if we can fix. And I think that we ended up here. This was actually the last schedule that we ended up looking at. We had a really good schedule that was hard to beat, and we tried to beat it for a couple days and couldn't. And this last one actually ended up winning. So kind of fun to have the last one win, especially, it was a great run. We had a lot of time to work on this year, and the whole team, was really locked in over the whole long weekend last weekend, and presented this to Roger on Monday and it ended up being the winner.
Your job is not easy. Congrats. Hopefully you're taking a vacation at some time soon. And so much of it is balance. It's all of it. It's keeping everybody happy, and so many different new partners, Netflix swooping and all this. What was the part of making the schedule this year that was unique, that maybe what was the moment, whether it was a certain week or a holiday or the quick turnarounds by so many teams that kept you guys in your seats the longest, the knot that was the hardest to come unloose?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, honestly, you could talk about any different piece of it, but, to dive into Christmas a little bit, that one was pretty interesting because we had to find 4 teams. Christmas is on a Wednesday, obviously, this year. So we had to find 4 teams that all played each other and that could play the previous Saturday, because we need 4 days in between games, coming back on Wednesday. So it needed to be a little bit like Christmas round robin, if you will. So we have a really fun matchup or couple of matchups that we think that will be relevant, hopefully down the stretch here with, the AFC North this year is a bit of a powerhouse. So that'll be fun to have Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And then we also brought KC and Houston in. So that one in particular was, I would say we spent a ton of time on week 16 and week 17 this year. Week 17, we've got a lot of windows. We have our Christmas windows on Wednesday, our regular Thursday night game on Amazon. Then we have our 3 Saturday NFL Network games, regular Sunday slate with 1 o'clock, 4:25, and, our NBC Sunday night, and then a Monday night game. So we have a lot of mouths to feed in week 17, and we spent an inordinate amount of time just making sure that we had the right games in the right spots, and also left over something for Sunday afternoon.
I cannot wait for that week. It'll be nonstop football. I'll just be in my pajamas and sweatpants, elastic waistband the entire way through. I can't wait. I love primetime. Let's dig in. Niners, Cowboys, Jets tied for most with 6. Aaron Rodgers and company really stand out here to me because all 6 of these primetime games, plus a 7 standalone game in London, they happened within the first 11 weeks. What went into this decision of packing it all in so early?
That's a good question. I would say that wasn't forced in early by any stretch. We liked where they fell, but we weren't trying to avoid it late, if that was what you were getting at. I think that a lot of this schedule, the structure, we also love the idea of getting Aaron Rodgers on early. Everyone's dying for Aaron Rodgers. So trying to make sure that all the networks get a little bite at the apple. Given that, we had so much excitement about this last year, we're basically running it back, right? Especially with week 1, starting again on Monday Night Football.
Love that. Everyone, I don't know. Everyone wanted pieces of Aaron Rodgers. That's news to me. That's great. 40-year-old coming off an Achilles tear. Can't wait to see it. The Bears, Chicago girl, they jumped out to me here. Objectively, 5 standalone games this season, starting with the week 2 Sunday nighter at Houston. I mean, come on, Charlotte, Caleb Williams up against CJ Stroud. This is amazing. But there is there's a wild quirk here too. They don't play a single division game until they face the Packers in week 11. So what was the discussion in that room, and what made everybody comfortable with that?
So just to start a little bit backtracking on the Bears in general, I think that, the one piece, as you'll remember, Kay, like a few years ago, the schedule didn't come out or it came out before draft. So we didn't even have, those draft stories or pieces to put the puzzle together to actually be able to react afterwards. Now we have that time. And a team like the Bears is so exciting now post-draft. And, they were an exciting team at the end of last year, too. But this is a team that we're really counting on. And you'll see, as you said, a decent amount of prime time there, but also we're using them strategically across like our 1 o'clock windows and where they can anchor and help in certain areas. They're a team that you're going to see a lot of this year. As for the division piece, it's definitely a little kooky, but they're not the only team that has that. And it's something that, it falls where it falls, and it's a team, again, like the AFC North. The NFC North is also really exciting this year, and it could make for a really fun run down the stretch.
I love that. Tom Brady in the booth, okay? He gets a pretty good slate. I looked at it right away. So what's he going to get? I know Cowboys and Browns to kick it off. Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl rematch. Charlotte, I would argue that this is the biggest game of the year. is getting Tom on the call, does it say something about the confidence we have in the GOAT here? That is a huge game.
It's a huge game, and it'll be so much fun to have Tom on the call there. I think we're all really excited as football fans in general to see what Tom can do in the booth and transition off the field. But, that game in particular, that was one that we saw in a lot of different places, right? Like that is probably the game of the year. You could point to a few of them this year, but it's just everyone's excited for it. It has a lot of hype, Super Bowl rematch. Two of arguably the best teams, in terms of what we're expecting going into this year. And, it fell in a really good spot. We love the 425 window for that reason. It's our highest viewed window. And to have Tom Brady on the call is pretty fun.
It's epic. I can't wait. I love the schedule. I love everything about it. Now, there is a theory, Charlotte, going around about the Chiefs schedule. Defending champs, they play in Buffalo on November 17th. Same weekend that Taylor Swift is performing in nearby Toronto. Is it? You tell me. Some fans think this was intentional. Are you saying it was a coincidence?
I'll let you decide, Kay.
I mean, I always found it interesting between you and Mike, even back at Good Morning Football, when you guys would talk about how much world tours and musical acts and things, like if Billy Joel was playing, like it would be tough to, what was there something that was a wrench in the schedule in that world?
You know what? There are a lot of, there are tours and things as there are every year, and it always gets harder and harder and more things happen. Taylor actually is coming back to the U.S. and during our football season and has a couple of blocks in there too. But, I think that we've gotten to the point with, our technology partners and whatnot, where we are able to work around of a lot of these blocks. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we still need to be able to play football in all the weeks that we actually need to be home and play football. Yeah. But there wasn't one tour that came through that was, completely egregious and really, set us kind of on our seats there. But no, Taylor's definitely a factor this year also.
There you go, folks. A few weeks ago, Mr. Goodell talked about the possibility of adding I just want your reaction to him wanting to add an 18th game to the schedule in the near future. That's going to change your job up a little bit. So not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but how does that affect your process going forward?
That affects our process with, we will see what happens in the future. I don't, we'll see what happens. And if that does happen, it could be very exciting. I don't have a really good answer for you on that one. You probably know more about it than I do at this point.
No, but I mean, you got to throw an extra bye in there. Apparently, you got to balance out the strength of schedule. Like it would be, it would be wild. In the meantime, enjoy it. I hope you disconnect your. I saw that. I don't think you're on Twitter. Do you have a burner Twitter account? Do you like? How could you possibly be on social media? What would that even look like for you in the past 2 days? Right?
You know what, Kay? I've got a 5-month-old and a 4-year-old at home, so Twitter is. I think it has a new name these days, and that's pretty much where I am on that beat.
I think Mike North has the burner account. He's going saying this strength of schedule is pretty great. Send. That'll be him. Well, get back to the adorable 5-month-old and the 4-year-old. I believe you said. Congrats on the schedule. It is epic. We cannot wait, and just the celebration of it all. I know you're not taking it in, but it is a party. It is an absolute party for all of us NFL fans. So appreciate you. Thanks for all the work that you do, Charlotte Carey, the NFL's Director of Broadcasting. Thank you.
Thanks, Kay.
Taylor Swift, a factor, everybody. It's what everybody wanted to know. We'll be back
Always.
After this with the head coach of the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, is joining the show. Oh, man. Hamilton, what were some of the... I didn't get to see a lot of the questions that people were asking on Twitter to ask her. I looked at a bunch of them. Taylor Swift was huge.
The Taylor Swift one was a big one. But But listen.
What?
We're talking about the schedule release party. I know you're not going to bring it up. And I hate giving you credit for anything, but I have to. You were in not one, but 2 schedule release videos. First, let's start with the Saints. They're interviewing for a new social media intern, and you got a crack at it. Let's take a look at that one.
This was terrible.
Able to keep a low profile?
Not a problem. I'm not really a partier. I just love the Saints.
Then can you explain these photos we found of you from last Mardi Gras?
Oh.
We're all used to that hang up. It's a quick hang up.
I'm not going to argue. I get off the phone very quick. I don't know how to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It was the one note I've ever gotten from Michael Davies, creator of Good Morning Football, was when you say bye to like Will or Kim Jones or whatever, like you really just like you're awkward. You cut it off, and I'm like, I do, and I'll be like, okay, bye. Okay, see ya. And it's just I do it. I mean, my brother understood it yesterday. Okay, see ya. Bye. Bye.
I'm always still talking when that phone hangs up 100% of the time. But that wasn't the only one. Cowboys. Let's take a look at the Cowboys one. Let's pull it.
Stop it.
Go Cowboys! Let's go!
The Cowboys prank calling fans of other teams. They brought you in for the Bengals. We saw Ocho in there, Dawn Staley, Burt Kreischer. Did you know what was happening, and what didn't make the cut from that interaction?
The amount of laws I was breaking by answering that phone were staggering. Truly staggering. Did I stop my car in the middle of like an intersection to answer that call? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying I did or didn't. No, I knew that I was given a hint that maybe I'd be getting a call from someone to make sure I had my phone at this and this time. I was at lunch with our amazing CEO, Amy, and said I might be getting a phone call. It didn't happen, and then it happened, and then you really kind of look at it, and you're like, who's in the, and you see it, you can tell it's, but then I'm like, I literally go, is that Post Malone? And then I just started I just go, let's go Cowboys! And then they went, whoa! And it ended up making the end of that video. It was so awkward, but I thought it was a great video. The Saints one, like, who's leaking my photos? Cam Jordan, Alvin Kamara, I'm looking at you. Welcome back to the Up and Adam show here on schedule. Release the hangover from that. So we're going to wrap the show this week. I had a brilliant sit down at the Beverly Hills Library with the head coach of the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. This show is weird. I know it is, but we give you good stuff and great content. So please enjoy. We talk Kirk Cousins. We talk J.J. McCarthy. We talk Sam Darnold. Here is the wonderful and eloquent Kevin O'Connell. Enjoy.
Well, listen, Mr. Coach of the Vikings' third year, let's start this thing. And let me tell you this, I would not finish the sentence. Kevin O'Connell is at ... a Kenny Chesney concert on stage. Tell me about this, because I know US Bank's going to be rocking and schedule releases here, but what do I need to know about you and Kenny?
Well, it's a great question. So I got a chance to meet him years ago as I was actually coaching. The first time I met him, I was coaching for the 49ers. And Kenny was very interested in who the special projects coach was for Chip Kelly's staff there. So he sought me out. No, I'm just kidding. But I ran into him and just kind of, through, he's such a big sports fan and always, puts on such big shows at many of the NFL stadiums around the country. So he always, loves to get a chance to swing through facilities, see the players, see the coaches, and, just a relationship that I've built up with him and have so much respect for him and what he's been able to do in his career. Obviously, I'm a big fan of his, and just to see him.
Coach, did you sing?
You know what? I did not sing. It's not like you get a heads up on anything. You get, I'm standing off to the side of the stage, staying out of the way, and you get waved on stage. It's a fight or flight moment at that point, and you got to decide how you're going to handle it. So I went out there and, I gave my variation of kind of a little hand clap. Didn't really know what else to do, so I signed a helmet, and we found a nice young Vikings fan to give it to.
I thought that was beautiful. I really feel like you were warming up US Bank, which is going to be sold out and rocking, one of the best fan bases in the entire NFL. And it's schedule release time. What is the matchup? Just give it to me straight. What's the one that you're giving an extra little bit of attention to?
There's 17 of them.
Okay, let's go. Maybe just give me your instant reaction to, you get a matchup finally against Sean McVay, Rams back in LA. You were the OC for 2 years there. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction to that is we better coach a really good football game that night, because Sean is, he's one of the best we have in our league. I've got so much respect for him. He truly is. He's one of my best friends. He's one of the, the people that I still confide in, week in and week out as a young head coach in this league. He's been doing it for a long time now, even though I got him by a few months in the age department. It certainly doesn't feel like that. And I like to give him a hard time for that, but we're going to have to play well. We know that it's SoFi is a tough place to go in and play. Hopefully, we get some purple in the stands, and it doesn't have to feel all the way like a road game to us.
Kirk Cousins comes back to Minnesota.
Yeah, how about that? You know, Kirk is I'm so close with Kirk, and I can't thank him enough for what he's been able to do for me as a head coach these first 2 years. And ultimately, both him and Julie and his whole family, it's how we like to do things around here. We develop relationships that hopefully last a lifetime, and had a lot of success together. And we know, once again, Brian Flores and our defense better be ready to have a big night against that offense. A lot of firepower, and we know Kirk very, very well as far as his ability to go out there and do everything he can to win a football game. So gonna be a special environment at US Bank Stadium, I bet.
How many times a day, you brought up Justin Jefferson, how many times a day are you asking the old GM if he signed his extension paperwork yet?
Well, what time is it? It's a little after lunchtime. It's been about 4 or 5 times already today. No, I know everything's going to get worked out there. Justin knows, the love and admiration that I have for him. And he knows he's such a big part of what we do around here. And that's on the field, that's off the field, brings such a great energy to our building every single day. And he's the ultra competitor as far as when he steps in between the white lines. Very few people are able to do the things that he's able to do. But it's how he goes about his business, how he works, how he pushes his teammates to get better. Justin Jefferson's a huge part of this organization.
I really like how genuine you've been about how important he is to you this whole time. Like, you've been very vulnerably like, I love him, I want him back. Can we get it done, please? I thought that was really cool. And who's luckier than these quarterbacks? I love your quarterback situation. You just wrap up your rookie mini camp. On the very first day, I'm hearing that JJ's making wind sprint wagers with the defense, which is amazing. What's one specific thing you've learned now about JJ in rookie camp?
Yeah, I think it was just first and foremost the amount of information that he was able to retain from Josh McCown and Grant Udinsky with some of the Zoom meetings they're able to do leading into the weekend. This guy's really smart, has a great ability to retain information and then go apply it in a way where there's still some technique, fundamentals, nuances to how we ask our quarterbacks to play that, he's able to take the coaching and immediately put it into attempting to, be coachable and try to do it the way that myself or Josh or Grant are asking him to do it. And we saw that in real time this past weekend. JJ is going to work like crazy. He's going to get better and better. And we'll see where he can take this thing.
Challenging dudes to win sprints, that's pretty bold. Like, he didn't run the 40 at the combine. You, on the other hand, sir, I believe ran the 4.61 at yours back in 2008. Could you right now beat JJ in a foot race?
I'll tell you what, I gave him a hard time because he didn't run, because I thought he could have competed with that time. But as I told him, we'll never know. One guy ran an official 40, the other guy chose not to. So until an actual race happens, which coming up on 39 years old here in about 10 days, I can tell you that race will never take place. I wouldn't survive it. But as I told JJ, it's the only way people knew about the wind sprint bet is he actually threw an interception in 7-on-7. So,
ooh.
That's one way for people to find out about the dynamic with your teammates is to trigger the loss in the old 7-on-7. I don't even know if we're allowed to call it a bet, but I would say that
a challenge.
Round 1 went to the defense, but round 2 I would say went to JJ on Saturday. So everybody won this past weekend.
I love to hear that. I'm genuinely excited for this quarterback room. I'm very happy for Sam Darnold too. I like a rewrite. I love an opportunity. I think he brings a lot to the quarterback room and on the field. And if he wins that quarterback competition, in your words, like, why could he be this year's Baker Mayfield-esque sort of turnaround player? What does he have in him? Because I think some people think he's just a placeholder, but I can't imagine that's true.
Yeah, Sam's off to a great start. Okay, he really is, and we haven't been able to do really anything competitive yet. But just from a standpoint of his ability to absorb our offense, go out and execute with a lot of guys. When he steps into the huddle, he's stepping in with guys that have been in this system for 2 years, and we're not really slowing down from a standpoint of how we want to kind of install our offense and apply the different principles throughout the spring so we can be comfortable when we get into the competition phase in training camp. Sam's been great. The physical talent jumps out to me. His ability to throw the football. He's really, really refined himself from a technique, fundamental standpoint, really playing with great balance and kind of the body position that elite quarterbacks tend to play with from a standpoint of being the same guy every single snap and being able to have repetitive success.
Coach, just one more fun one to wrap this up. Your reaction, you mentioned Dallas Turner. It went viral. I know you saw it. It was absolutely genuine. It was absolutely amazing.
Turner, we're getting him. Really?
How are you going to ever be tough on this rookie and coach him up if he knows that you love him so much? I think you lost a little Elka power there, but I thought we could go through some scenarios I'm going to give you, and you tell me if you'd give it the same reaction. So you mentioned it, your birthday, happy early birthday, over a week away. Let's say Aaron Jones gets you one of his infamous touchdown sombreros as a gift. What is your reaction? Are you rocking it? Are you as excited as you were about Dallas Turner?
I think I hold the sombrero. I give him the patented really, and I put that sucker on. I'm rocking that for sure.
The Padres win the World Series this season. Same reaction?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe a little bit more really, like a little bit more from the core on that really.
You are famously a meticulous note taker. Head coach of the T-Wolves, Chris Finch, he calls you up and he says he wants some notes to win a Game 7 against the Nuggets. What's your reaction?
Definitely would be a different kind of really. I have some thoughts though, believe it or not.
Give me one.
Just as a pure fan, I love the T-Wolves right now, what they're doing. I think they're gonna battle back and find a way to take down the champs. I'm all in on the T-Wolves right now, but I think Coach Finch, I'll tell you what, watching him coach from the second row, I was asking myself the other night, could I possibly do what he's doing, where he's coaching a whole team from kind of, the background there in the second row, recovering from his surgery, unbelievable poise and still in total command. You got a lot of respect for Coach Finch. I think they're going to get that done though. Let's go.
Justin Jefferson signs a 4-year extension this week.
Really? That would be something. That would be really, really good news for me, for sure.
That was more manifesting for you, Coach. Congrats on all the success so far. I know you're so busy. Thanks for taking the time. Congrats on the schedule release. Vikings fans are so excited, and here comes 2024.
Thanks, Kay. Always appreciate it.